Authorities also investigating this weekend's aviation accident here in the U.S. Charter plane skidded off the runway into a river in Jacksonville. ABC's Victor Akendo is on the scene. And Victor, what's happening with that plane right now?
Oh, good morning, George. Investigators need to get to that critical cockpit voice recorder as they try to determine a cause. But the problem is it's located in the tail of the plane. As you take a look behind me, you can see that part of the plane. It's still submerged. So before they can get in there, the plane needs to be removed. And before that can happen, they need to take out all the fuel.
This morning, new images of passengers stranded on the wings of a plane in the middle of a storm.
Baby coming through, baby coming through.
The harrowing moments caught on video just after the plane carrying 143 people overran a Jacksonville runway and slid into a river.
Turbulence started, rumbling started, and then all of a sudden it was like a small thud, like a small bump, and then it was just the massive impact.
Those on board the Boeing 737, chartered by the Department of Defense, carrying military and civilians from Guantanamo Bay, Cuba to the Naval Air Station in Jacksonville last Friday night, tell us the top of the aircraft cracked on impact, letting water inside. Video clearly shows the nose cone of the plane was torn off. Firefighters taking the passengers to shore, somehow everyone survived.
For the most part, it was another miracle. I don't know how we survived.
22 people were taken to hospitals, but everyone will be okay. NTSB investigators on scene all weekend trying to determine a cause. Seen here examining the ground marks made by the landing gear. The flight data recorder quickly recovered, but the critical cockpit voice recorder still in the tail of the plane, submerged. Weather is also being looked at as a possible contributing factor in this near tragedy.
Things could have turned out a lot worse than they did. I think God had his hand on that plane, and that's why I'm sitting here today.
And there's no real timeline on when this plane might be removed. They're still looking at options. They might keep it here at the Naval Air Station or take it elsewhere. George?
Okay, Victor, thanks very much. Let's bring in our aviation expert, Steve Gagnon. Steve, let's start out with what happened in Jacksonville. It really could have been much worse.
Could have been much worse. George, if you look at the runway lights that extend into the water and how the airplane just veered off at the last second, if it had hit those runway lights, concrete steel could have opened up the airplane fire. This could have been a real tragedy.
Which is exactly what happened in Russia. We saw that video of the plane bouncing there on the tarmac. What does that reveal to you?
Other than a botched landing, not much. So they had to come back for an emergency. It sounds like they lost communications, but if you look, they hit almost twice and then finally hit so hard it broke the airplane apart and caused that terrible fire that we see in the video.
What about this idea that the troubles might have first been caused by lightning?
It's hard to say why that would have botched the landing. You know, for some reason they came in and hit really hard the first time, the airplane bounced again, and then caught it on fire on the second. But if you look at the response once the fire started, I'm really concerned that people may have lost their lives due to the slow response of the crash fire rescue people at the airport. Should not have been that long. It
did take a little bit of time. We also heard from Dan that this Superjet has been shunned by European and U.S. companies.
It's a Russian design. It's only flown in Russia. It's got a very poor reliability record. It's not commercially successful. It's an airplane to avoid.
Okay, Steve Gagnon, thanks very much.
Always appreciate Steve's insight, George.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.